Welcome Trinidad and Tobago to our News 4 report, a product of the Government Information Services Limited and the Ministry of Communications. I'm Joseph Lopez. Let's take a look at our headlines. A classified documents policy is being instituted by the Ministry of National Security. The Integrity Commission launches its Integrity Awareness Seminars titled Lead TT. And the Ministry of Tobago Development introduces a new policy for non-governmental organizations in search of funding. Welcome and thank you for joining us. Minister of National Security, Senator the Honorable Gary Griffith, is instituting a classification and handling of classified documents policy. According to the Ministry of National Security, Minister Griffith has recognized the need for the classification of sensitive documents within his ministry and as such will be instituting the policy for all units and divisions.
A classification and handling of classified documents policy for all units and divisions of the Ministry of National Security will very soon be implemented. The Ministry of National Security says Senator the Honorable Gary Griffith has recognized the need for the classification of sensitive documents within the Ministry of National Security. The classification of documents will fall into 4 categories. A. Top secret. Information and material the unauthorized disclosure of which would cause exceptionally grave damage to the nation. B. Secret. Information and material the unauthorized disclosure of which would cause a serious injury to the interest of the nation. C. Confidential. Information and material that unauthorized disclosure of which would be prejudicial to the interest of the nation. And D. Restricted. Information and material the unauthorized disclosure of which would be undesirable to the nation. The Ministry advises that documents of an administrative nature which may not justify a security classification but should be protected from the casual observer will be classified as A. Staff in confidence, B. Medical in confidence, and C. Contract in confidence. According to the Ministry, Minister Griffith says he is aware that while there are some national security agencies and divisions that have already implemented and are currently utilizing such a system for classifying and handling sensitive documents, he is desirous of ensuring that all other agencies and departments within the Ministry of National Security, with the intention of including institutions that have sensitive information regarding national security matters, implement a similar classification policy. The Minister's office says implementation of such a policy will in future ensure that only persons with the relevant security clearance will have access to such documents. It believes this will result in a reduction in the number of sensitive and secret documents being leaked or passed to unauthorized personnel. Further to this, the Ministry says that it is expected that the systems associated with the classification of such documents will assist in the identification of the person or persons responsible for the releasing or leaking of sensitive documents, some of which may be potentially harmful to the general security of the country. Felicia Wilson-Moore, News 4.
The Integrity Commission is mandated in the Integrity in Public Life Act to preserve and promote the integrity of public officials as well as institutions. Well, with this in mind, the Commission launched a series of seminars that will serve as a vehicle through which it will fulfill its legal mandate.
The Integrity Commission will make its presence felt across public bodies and public institutions in Trinidad and Tobago. This as the Integrity Commission launched its Integrity Awareness Seminars at the Hyatt Regency Trinidad, entitled Lead TT. Among the statutory functions of the Commission is the carrying out of programs to educate the public about the standards of integrity, which translates to the transformation of our society.
At the Integrity Commission, we believe that meaningful change and transformation within oneself is necessary before transformation and change can occur in our public bodies and institutions.
The first seminar involved the board and management of the Trinidad and Tobago Electricity Commission. According to the Deputy Chairman of the Integrity Commission, the leading from above-the-line philosophy is that which is governing the minimum of 20 seminars planned by the Commission for 2014.
This philosophy is presented by Dr. Theodore Ferguson, shows the impact that ethics and leading or living above the moral line can have on the individual and on the organizational and national culture at the macro level. The Commission supports unreservedly this philosophy and believes that public officials must first act in a way that demonstrates honesty, trustworthiness, and integrity in order to elicit the best in their subordinates.
The Commission has collaborated with leading from above-the-line TT prior to this latest initiative, as Dr. Ferguson worked with the Ministry of Education in September 2013 as part of the Commission's Do Rights Champions campaign, and the Commission's management has also participated in several of Dr. Ferguson's conversations on leadership series. The Integrity Awareness Seminars provide a platform for the Commission to begin the discussion of issues such as governance, ethics, values, principles, accountability, and responsibility.
In the medium to long term, the Commission anticipates that it will see the benefits of this intervention in the form of outcomes, such as the development of codes of conduct in some organizations, the successful adoption of the Trinidad and Tobago Corporate Governance Code in others, and the implementation of transparent policies and procedures in all.
According to the Deputy Chairman, one certain outcome of this exercise will be the promotion and raising of the awareness of integrity among persons in public life and persons exercising public functions. Nikolai Edwards, News 4.
We take a short break. More news when we return. Stay with us. Thank you for staying with us. The introduction of a new policy for groups that engage in charity-based work, seeking funding from the Ministry of Tobago Development, will now have to abide by certain guidelines. Now, prior to the guidelines taking effect, the ministry met with non-government organizations recently to explain how they will be impacted. Here's more in this report.
The Ministry of Tobago Development has been fulfilling the government's mandate under the 6th schedule of the Tobago House of Assembly Act of 1996. 4 years on, the ministry is about to formulate a policy to guide on how community groups should access government funds for their charitable work. Advisor to the Minister George Stanley Beard explains why the new policy is needed.
We had to develop a policy, and the policy had to suit the needs of civil society in Tobago. And let's be honest, many ministries would have the facility. We just did not want to blueprint what other ministries have, because we are saying that Tobago has peculiar needs and unique needs, and therefore we must develop a policy that is particularly for the purpose of meeting the needs of civil societies in Tobago.
Mr. Beard made a special request for non-government organizations, faith-based organizations, and community-based organizations to help the ministry formulate the new guidelines by making recommendations for the best practices they may have encountered at other agencies.
Those of you who would have been approaching other NGOs or other donor agencies and you have the experience with it, fine. If there is something that other agencies do not have, and you think we, because of that they are special needs, then you need to see.
He also cautioned the groups that they will be monitored for proposals that do not reflect the true nature of their work.
I once sat as part of a panel with the UN aid funding agency, and we had some individuals from our island really doing a disservice to the island and people of Tobago in terms of what they would have submitted being not factual. And we hope, and this is our sincere wish, that hey, if you are assisting any civil group or organization, be honest in what you put on the paper.
The NGOs were told that prior to 2010, the presence of the central government resided in the office of the Prime Minister. With its expansion into a full-service ministry on the island, the government says it continues to develop a tangible relationship with the groups that advocate for less fortunate in their communities. Reporting from Tobago, Natoya Johnson, News 4.
Staying with news in Tobago, a number of NGOs met at the headquarters of the Ministry of Tobago Development at Orange Hill in Scarborough for a strategic planning meeting recently. Now, the group leaders were given information on seeking funding at the ministry and were in turn allowed to share their concerns and comments with ministry officials.
Director for Tobago Matters and Interministerial Coordination at the Ministry of Tobago Development, Miriam Caesar Moore, led the way with discussions between the ministry and NGOs from across Tobago. She took the opportunity to identify how the ministry's mandate for development was linked to the work of the NGOs.
I also must applaud all the NGOs in this room and faith-based organizations. Without you, I know this country would not see the development of the people. Imagine you, the people, take time out of your busy schedule. You could be home taking care of your grandchildren and taking care of your children, but you take time to go to meetings, to organize, and sometimes without any remuneration, to see that your organization develop. And I'm hoping that it will be sustained.
The groups were given the platform to air their views, and the resulting talks covered a range of matters. Here are some of the topics that came to the fore.
My organization, which is the Church of God, feels that the Ministry of Tobago Development recognizes us and is saying to us, you continue to do what you do. We will help you. And I feel that that's one of the signature roles of the Ministry of Tobago Development.
I heard somebody talking about taking away the discretion from the minister and the PS. I think that must remain there because there are long-standing events that does wonders for Tobago, and anybody who is remotely acquainted with the Tobago International Cycling Classic knows that it is shown on about 7 different frequencies of ESPN.
In case of projects requiring large sum of funding for completion, is there a specific amount or percentage that the Ministry of Tobago Development will fund, or will it differ based on the benefits or its importance to the community?
The panel, which comprised officials from various departments, responded to the questions and also informed the groups that their suggestions and concerns will be taken into consideration as new policies for funding NGOs are implemented. Meanwhile, Director of the Human Capital Development Unit of the Ministry of Tobago Development, Agnes Webb, indicated that while these changes are being made, the NGOs should be aware that other guidelines that determine how funds are dispersed by the ministry remain in effect.
There is a monitoring system in place to ensure that the NGOs follow the procedure that's prescribed in their applications. There's nothing left there's nothing we do not investigate if we find there's something that we need to look at more carefully.
Reporting from Tobago, Sophia Cooper, News 4.
Sports news is next. Stay with us. Welcome back. The Sports Company of Trinidad and Tobago has reached out to community groups and sporting organizations in an effort to boost the Sport for All initiative. The Making a Difference Foundation, headed by former national footballer Angus Eve, is one of the organizations fully on board with the initiative in this, the 7th year of their annual Sports and Family Day. Here's more from Wayne Cunningham.
Hague Street in Carenage came to life with color and activity on Easter Sunday as the Make a Difference Foundation hosted their 7th annual Sports and Family Day. Following the dance pass, the races got underway with the boys under 15 sprint, and this athlete made it look easy. The competition in the girls' edition of the event was a bit stiffer, but the result was clear. We caught up with event organizer Angus Eve, and he told us more about the day's activities.
Well, today we have in the March Sports Promotion organization I founded over 13 years ago. This is our 7th annual Sports Day. We normally do things like cricket competition, football competition, small goal, and what have you. Now this is our Sport and Family Day, and this is 7th edition.
Regarding support for the event,
well, tremendous. I mean, you could just look around the March Pass. You could see that the teams really put out a lot of effort and a lot of time in their routines. And, you see the athletic part of it. And you see the participation from the community. This is what it's about. It's about bringing the community together and not having that element of crime and show that Carenage could be known for something else except for crime. Tremendous support from the Honorable Minister Anil Roberts, also Mr. Creed from the Sports Company. Also, after the support of them, we have the corporate sponsor. I try to use mainly the people from the area because it's their day. And so that would be the support from the local businessmen, Mr. Ford Bar, all these local organizations. Of course, MAD, which is my organization, which actually hosts and chooses sport.
the former national midfielder, now coach, told us more about his community-based organization and what's ahead.
Making a difference in sport, culture, and education. Don't get MAD is just the acronym. It's really a positive thing, and I think it suits the area because we're MAD. Basically, that is what it is. We're trying to give people a positive sense of mind, a positive sense of belonging, in the community, and have them participate in something that is really worthwhile and something that could uplift their community. I just want to tell people on the outside to give these sort of neighborhoods the necessary support that they need so that we can continue to host these sort of events and bring a more positive frame of mind into the, we want to see the ministries come and help a little bit more and partner with our community groups because we know what the community actually need. A lot of times people hand down things to us, and if they work alongside us, it will be much better.
Wayne Cunningham, News 4 Sports.
More news when we return. Stay with us. Welcome back. As the Trinidad and Tobago Electricity Commission continues to work in support of the government's thrust to improve the quality of lives, residents of Cunupia were encouraged to make full use of the opportunities provided as a result of an illumination upgrade at the Stalagnite Recreation Ground of the Southern Main Road, Cunupia. The installation of lights at the Stalagnite Recreation Ground is proof that TNTech continues to impact the lives of Trinbagonians in a positive and tangible way, says Minister of Public Utilities, the Honorable Nizam Bach.
This project falls under a category we call public lighting, under which we at the Ministry of Public Utilities oversee the lighting of parks, recreation grounds, and public spaces, such as police stations and regional health authorities facilities. The installation of light poles and street lights are also included in this category.
He says it is also another opportunity for the Commission to demonstrate its ongoing commitment to supporting government's thrust to improve the quality of life of all citizens of Trinidad and Tobago. The minister hopes that the upgrade of the Starlight Night Recreation Ground for use at night will serve to increase the use of the grounds and increase levels of physical activities these grounds serve.
These initiatives, ladies and gentlemen, are a high priority for the government of Trinidad and Tobago. If we look, for example, in the government's annual performance report for 2013, which set out to measure progress, identify challenges, and action solutions, we will see that among the many outputs is one which identifies greater participation in sports and recreational activities. The government has been making consistent strides in creating an enabling environment to support physical, sporting, and recreational activities. The ultimate goal is to create a population made up of healthy citizens.
TNTech believes the features, which include 4 17-meter poles, underground low-voltage cables, and a single-phase electrical panel arrangement, will positively impact the community of Cunupia in a myriad of ways. According to Chairman of TNTech, Mrs. Sushala Ramkisoon Mark, this is in keeping with the government's drive to encourage healthier citizens not only in Cunupia but across the country. She adds that TNTech is therefore pleased to be able to play such an integral role in this initiative.
The illumination of the Starlight Night Recreation Ground is also expected to spur economic growth and foster community activities in the surrounding communities. This has increased access to the field, fostered by the ability to utilize the grounds beyond daylight hours, is expected to encourage more sporting events and community activities.
Mrs. Ramkisoon Mark says with the increase of these events, they foresee a consumerate increase in opportunities for small micro-enterprise such as food vendors, handicraft vendors, and alike.
This upgrade of the Starlight Night Recreation Ground should be seen as a catalyst for economic activity at the community level.
Teamwork played a great role in the achievement celebrated at the official lighting ceremony. The upgrade itself was requested by Member of Parliament for Caroni East, Dr. the Honorable Tim Gopisingh, and was the culmination of discussion between himself and the Minister of Public Utilities.
When I came in 2007, this area had some lights, single bulbs, small bulbs, and there was a box outside there which we tried to get repaired, but nothing was done for the time, so that I persuaded my colleague, Minister Nizam Baksh, and every time we met close to cabinet morning, he would say, Minister, I'm going to do that for you, make sure that it is going to be done. And thank you, Honorable Minister, that it has been done. And our constituents of Caroni East and Cunupia here are extremely grateful for what you have done for us.
The actual lighting needs of the ground were determined through consensus by the Chaguanas Corporation and TNTech's Public Lighting Department. And that's how we wrap up this edition of our News 4 Report, a product of the Government Information Services Limited and the Ministry of Communications. Remember, you can view a repeat of our newscast weekdays at 6 a.m. and feel free to visit our Facebook page at www.facebook.com/OurTV4. I am Joseph Lopez. Thank you so much for watching.